would like to say Tashi Dele. Hello, warm welcome to everyone here and all over the world. Yesterday we were speaking about in the Buddha Dharma, if you are going to practice the Dharma, then there is empowerment. And how all empowerment is subsumed into the single point of the deity's body, speech, and mind, these enlightened aspects. So what do you receive when you receive empowerment? In the physical level, your own body, you meditate as the deity. This purifies your physical self-fixation, self-grasping. Your physical body is the body of the deity. So if it's Chenrezig, you think that your body is the form of Chenrezig. On the level of speech, you recite mantra such that all sounds are transformed into the nature of mantra. And this purifies fixation on speech. On the level of the mind, you think, I am Chenrezig. And therefore you grasp the mind of awakening, bodhicitta. The deity is the mind of loving kindness. So when you receive empowerment, these are what you receive. So we're picking up from yesterday.
Tita, Tata, illuminated, some one did a Tata Tatani, like you can take on my Lagongo, Madago Marti, the Shivas song, the Shivas of the Hako already.
When you receive empowerment, you purify obscurations. You purify physical, verbal, and mental obscurations. So what do we mean by obscurations? We all possess the Buddha nature within us, but the reification of ourselves, I, constricts us into ice. And so these empowerments melt this frozen ice of self-clinging. So first there's the physical fixation, and we melt the ice of this fixation, and then the verbal, and then the mental. If we have self-clinging, then we are not able to meditate on ourselves as a deity. So it purifies self-clinging to think of ourselves as a form of the deity. And then for the verbal level, if we're free from fixating on our own speech, then all sounds become the natural reverberation of mantra. So this is the freedom of fixation on speech or sound. If we lack fixation, then we're able to enter into the level of the mind, where the mind is suffused with altruism, the wish to benefit others. So we think we must benefit all living beings, and this purifies fixation of the mind or the mental level. So there are empowerments on the outer, inner, and secret levels. And the first empowerment is the outer level, or the vase empowerment. This is where we receive empowerment and then enter the Samadhi of the inner level. We meditate again and again with meditative concentration. And we don't allow ourselves to forget the meaning of the empowerment. This is like transforming a small fire into a large inferno or flame. And what increases this fire is primordial wisdom or timeless awareness. So timeless awareness is the fire. It's the fire of the timeless awareness of the abiding nature of mind, the mind as it is. And thoughts are the kindling or the fuel, the wood. If we don't have fixation on our thoughts, then our thoughts are incinerated in the fire of timeless awareness. They become the wood. And then all afflictive emotions transform into timeless awareness. So in the secret empowerment, we meditate on ourselves as a deity, and we have to understand the three, I guess, knowings. The fruition of empowerment are the three vajras, which include the unity of appearance and emptiness, the unity of sound and emptiness, and the unity of awareness and emptiness. So first comes form, or the unity of appearance and emptiness. We understand that all forms in this entire world are composite phenomena and are therefore impermanent, subject to destruction. So we understand they don't really exist on their own. And this understanding yields the unity of appearance and emptiness. We still see forms, we still see as many forms as there are, but we understand that their nature is impermanence. We understand that their essence is emptiness. So no matter how many forms we see, we understand them to be composite phenomena, impermanent phenomena. And this is the knowingness of the way things actually are, the unity of appearance and emptiness. And this occurs in the mind. This pertains also to the mind. So if we think that the mind is a thing, an actual thing, this is delusion. So we understand the nature of composite phenomena, and this understanding is the unity of appearance and emptiness, the Vajra of enlightened form. We understand that this pertains to all things. We see things, the forms themselves, as they really are, to be composite, the nature of emptiness. And this understanding is like the syllable Om. So all form becomes a syllable Om, luminous, shining, radiant. So we meditate on all forms as a syllable Om. This is the Vajra of enlightened form, appearance, and emptiness. Next comes the level of sound or mantra or speech. So if there's a pleasant sound and we immediately like it, then we want more of that pleasant sound. Or if there's an unpleasant sound, someone speaks badly to us, we're immediately enraged. This is misunderstanding sound and emptiness. So we see sound, or we hear sound, as nothing but the flittering of emptiness itself. So then liking a certain sound or not liking a certain sound becomes irrelevant. We recognize the empty nature of all sounds. No matter which sounds occur, if we're able to remain without fixations on that sound, then no matter if it's a wave of sound, a mass of sound, we recognize its emptiness. We recognize the emptiness of all words, even toward the sublime Dharma. So we recognize the emptiness of all forms and appearance and emptiness, and we recognize the emptiness of all sounds in the union of sound and emptiness. We recognize sounds to be like an illusion, and they're just temporary. They're temporary. They're temporary. There's no ultimate substance to them at all. So we understand the inseparability of sound and emptiness, and this is the secret, or the level of the empowerment of speech. This allows us to enter into non-fixation towards sound.
대략적인 짜리들 속도 짜를 진바 되더니 그걸 뭐지가 송노래 다들 먹기는 나와에 상당히 이거 보답지 나가 나디면 가는 거 속. 나한테 듣고 뭐 저걸 맞이나 라에 저걸 또 밤에 봐 라에 나동 라에 자를 맞이나 나래 대체도 맞은 세면 다고 자도 예민이 시오 나상 나지요 아래 탐지도 작동 나 자는 밤에 봐도 다 작동 속도지 자 요정 밤에 봐 오, 자 생기가 아래지 아게 파식을 듣고지 작동 속도지
Regarding form, form is the unity of appearance and emptiness, and sound is the unity of sound and emptiness. So that's what we know, that's the knowingness. And what is the fault of not knowing this? The fault of not knowing this is that we cling to pleasant forms, unpleasant forms. I like this, I don't like that, and there's so many thoughts going everywhere. And we lay severe habitual imprints. And the same is true for sound. If we don't understand sound and emptiness, then it just inflames our thoughts, and thoughts go everywhere regarding the sounds. So if we instead do not fixate on the nature of these sounds and forms, and we recognize the nature in our mind, then we are able to release our fixation. So there's a quote that is, all sounds are sounds and emptiness, all forms are form and emptiness. And what this quote means is that there's no fixation on form. There's no fixation on sound. If there's no fixation on form, it's the form of the deity. If there's no fixation on sound, the sound is mantra. And then everything is immediately the syllable ah. Sound and emptiness is the syllable ah. All sound is mantra, the syllable ah. This is the vajra of enlightened speech. No matter how many sounds there are, if we don't fixate on them, all sounds are ah, the vajra of enlightened speech.
코 토마메 바니 따요지 데르들이 따지 아까 두고티 좀 두고 말이지 박차를 코 토만 득득대 메르지 살이 저러고 가지 그래서 지고야 못 차로 많이 들어가면 벌렁아 이래들 아무것도 이래들 가리는 이게 많이 들어갈 거야 나한테 나나나 사람들 나한테 차당도 만다고 지네들 니제 제보래 니제가 니제 제보래 삼대 뭐 지네들 뭐는 아직 뒤로 말해 가서다 오죽 뭐래 제발요 설명 propo고니요 말이야 아직 뒤로 말해서 포탐제 지네들 공부도 봐줘 못함제 뒤로 공부도 봐줘 저 뜻대로 들리지 마다바 나와서 다 먹을 다 나는 손만 줬더니 라이나 마들 라째고 오더니 포탐제 지뢰도 못하지 지뢰도 말 라한테 이삼제 포탐제 지뢰도 못하지 지뢰도 말이지 오늘 따따따 마다니 이제 네가 잘롱자고 잘고 나디는 유모가 정말 로르데 나고 들만다고 다속 살이요 말이지 다속 참아 상지에 이제 하고는 로버를 우장 로버를 좀 돼지 세진은 상지 우장 로버를 좀 상지 좀 말이 우장 저마테 살 상지에서 저마테 호초 다자 마다라는 지는 서그마지는 대 상지 대 저마테 상도요 상손 샘티들이 나만 통해 나가다 잡도다 상대 잡도다 샘도 가다 대토를 이들은 동네 매비 대가 쳐보소 다 소소문이 동의를 돌거나 뜻이 좀대이 되더라도 상고리 이 상송이 제도 다 세는 것도 정말 체질이 저 동네 오 세는 세점도 갖다 무슨 갖다 뭐라고 Sasam Jikang Nata made it. Zaman the Sagan the Mangon Todo, just a Todo. Gomar Japava was Sogan Todo. You know, Torson same the Toyagam. Same the Nakata, Naka Sagan Todilla, same the Nakata Devi, or the same Nakata Caridi. Oh, that's Zoglam Maji, Jalan Medina, this same the table, this same the Nakana. Oh, that's same for me, she absorbed. Lani Sodimin and Thomas, Ganka Chukun, John, Mr. Same color, Pa Dorzin, Turn one mother, John make a same lady, John make a Nankada. That many same Nankana did. Then nobody shakes on Nakan the Pomados. Oh, Jigna did not talk on those. Dugit not talk on that in the party, Zogla J. Jardy take a Dugit Zozo. They believe it to the Taslag on Hardin. Oh, same color shit of those at the hour. They don't talk to Jade. They same thing about this Madame Lake and Sakamari. Lake I am Masara Pachai to Mary. Pacha by that didn't trouble you draw to start humanity. The taste of charity, or dominate the name of the archibald, the same Moshina, same with the electoral, the tobacco on the Esto. From young Cartesian, same with the electoral, there is from young share the part of some of the from young Tarzan, same with the electoral already.
Next comes the unity of awareness and emptiness, the Vajra of enlightened mind. So who is it among sentient beings that grasps? It is the mind. It is the mind which fixates, I. It's what drives the engine of samsara from beginningless time. And it's what creates afflictive emotions and habitual imprints. So we're not able to be a deity in that time. And the remedy is for all males to think of themselves as Chenrezig. So who is Chenrezig? Chenrezig is the nature of compassion. So if you're thinking only me, myself, I, and fixating in this way, then you won't be able to think of yourself as a deity and sound will not be mantra. So if you're a male, you think of yourself as Chenrezig, then you have instant loving kindness. And if you're a female, you think of yourself as Aryatara. And it is the mind which thinks in this way. So if you're a male, you think of yourself as Chenrezig, and if you're a female, you think of yourself as Aryatara. And this allows us to transform our mind state. The difference between pure and impure is self-fixation. So we think of ourselves as the deity. All males are Chenrezig and all females are Aryatara. And this melts the temporary ice which constricts and binds ourselves through our self-fixation and our temporary afflictive emotions. The ultimate state of all of us is Buddhahood. However, we are obscured by temporary stains. So the saying goes that all Buddhas possess Buddha nature, but are temporarily obscured by stains, or stained by temporary obscurations. So the difference between pure and impure is fixating on ourselves. And the Tibetan word for Buddha is Sangye, and this first syllable sang means to cleanse, to purify. So what do we cleanse? We cleanse our mind. And if we cleanse our mind, we gain control over our mind. Then our mind becomes as vast as the limitless sky, as vast as the infinite ocean. Then we really are separated from suffering. So if you genuinely want to be free from suffering, you must cleanse your mind. It is the mind which must be cleansed of its self-clinging. And then your mind becomes as vast as limitless space. So if your mind is thus cleansed, you'll be able to see all forms as appearance and emptiness, and hear all sounds as sound and emptiness. You'll be free from fixation. Then you'll dwell in the nature of the mind like space. So as it says in the 37 practices, in this nature of mind, there is no coming or going. So the mind is like space, and this mind is, it can be like space, or it can be riddled with thoughts. And it is these thoughts which create everything in this world. Forms and sounds are created by thoughts. So if you recognize these thoughts in the mind, this recognition itself is the unity of awareness and emptiness. Then you don't follow after any thoughts, and you don't lay any karma or habitual imprints. And at that time, there are no longer the 6 realms of beings. So this is the real separation from suffering, the real freedom from suffering, where the mind is naturally dwelling in happiness. The mind is dwelling in its nature. And this is the ultimate level of the 6 transcendent perfections.
Semmo 시선 세븐에로 시선을 때 이식을 놓은 정도로 얘는 라만 요래 가래 나도 가래서 뒤지서 저 남도티 롱들 봐 식도 요래 그래서 남도 멤버도 당이 남도 좋아요 남도 멤버도 처는 때 돌고 남도 정보도 정보다 때 말이 장이 니가 돌을 홍보되나 홍들 롱들 봐도 요래 때 내록 수혜들이 이 홍보나 그렇게 남도 박차지 돌도 그래. 그 돌을 맞으러 때다 바고 저 초하자는 것들 남도 샤치를 지가리들이 남도 초하되는데 홍공 아니 홍도 얘기를 받았는데 이 멋지게 벌을 추려 홍도 속도 홍 남도 초하도 딸이 왔다. 남도 초왔다 메봤다 그랬더니 우리 남도 이제들이 남도들은 나이는 맞아 제리 상계에 로버를 좀 맞거든요. 남도 드라마다 그랬더니 용마지게 쳐내지 용마지게 쳐대 홍지 용마지 가요. 남도 또좀 찾나 우리 샘도당 마사게 차용을 야저 남도 톱톱톱이 그래서 홍 저거도 banque 반응이 터서 싸운데 남도 직감에 세면안 이게 사용을 남도 직감에 세면안 이게 셉니다. 이제 대식 뭐지? 어디 샘이 담대 샘이 우리 대식이 못해. 대식이면 이 남도 탐지도 다소 다 사지에 남도 냠들 코와지 이 어디서 보면 것도 대이 레벨 사지에 샘 남도 왜 샘이 하고 서로 대 사지에 말을 샘이 고대 말은 가래 말을 가래 나오는 거 다야 거래. 이게 뭐 가고 나 영어 내가 되버렸더니 그 가지 연구요래. 빼르다다. 내가 없으면 연구요래. 나는 고쳤다대. 내가 없으면 가래리. 니 토가 가네. 다이 통만한 미고래. 나오냐 봤더니如果你거기 잡으려고 보라잖아. 그러니까 박차지. 다들 남도티 내는 거 짓은 노래티 샘스 대독 초반지 그냥 나서고 살 약고 잘가 독고잖아. 들이 독이 기독 초반 용연도 내는 거 짓은 노래 남지대 내는 짓은 노래 까들이 세부대로 실리는 정말 살으나 라자 홍 그래서 지금 또 타버려 요말이 이 성수가 나와지 박차가 되지 대단한 박차 이냐라 또 보고 박차 또 여다 세는 박차 여다디 세나 세당 도목선데 다음을 뭐 독서지 대설 독서를 잡았으면 이는 잡아 말을 빨아도 요래들이 템들이 말을 거는 이유서 짓는 거서 말이 그래서 분들 되게 이렇게 사지데 말을 가래 말을 나그래서 내놓고 샘 땅도 이제 가갈 마시려 말을 그 샘데 나오냐 봐도 무서웠어 요미 맞다 사자집에 딱 하고 나오냐 봐도 내가 무섭다 르든가 말이 나가 말이 나와서 봐 따내야요 말이 잘 토야요 말이에요. 여만이 이들 납사하는 거예요. 어디다 로버들 뺄려들 잡고 내가 말이지. 막 소, 응아를 쏟다. 로버들 뭐 이들 뭐 사서 드리달 위도 쳐 뭐요. 말을 받은 나연자 받으리. 내 하고 som서는 나연자 받으리 그다음에 딱히 딱만 나연자 하고 그래. 나연자 받으면 나이도 막 강의인 거요. 나이도 막 가리를 망망 하사는데 깍들이 나이도 받으리요. 홍 이선 나이도 받요 말이. 이 박차출이 좋고요 말이. 나디도 또 숨이 들이다들이 레로 짓을 좋고요 말이. 다들이 이시를 놓는데 시로 나와서 얘네들이 렉동 톡도지들 렉동들 생각대로 하고는 남도 막 가리 살나. 홍고 떨어서 하고 그러더니 홍자 체슈리 유습도 사제 탐지 냠도 공 유습도 사제 탐지 왜 냠도 공 토마들 거를 답이 어려야 돼. 답이 어려야 돼. 가르치고 저 홍자장 공지 야 저가도 연이서 따올 엄지 봐 아토가 홍마들 그러면 내가 홍은데 오요 홍 때려서 유습도 사제도 생기 삼지야 되는데 오요 사지의 습지지가 이게 홍는데 그래. 사지의 습지지가 샘는데 샘도 이게 홍는데 그래 홍는 내로 하고 그래야 돼. 알았어?
알았어. There's mind and there's also lung or subtle energy. And mind and subtle energy are inseparable. So there's mind and subtle energy, and the thoughts are of the mind, and so the subtle energy is like the mind, and the subtle energy is like a horse, and the mind is like its rider, or vice versa. So you have both aspects, and there's two kinds of subtle energy. There's karmic subtle energy and the timeless awareness or wisdom subtle energy. When you recognize the nature of mind, this is the subtle energy of timeless awareness. And with it, you gain control. No matter how many thoughts may arise, you're able to mount the subtle energy like a horse, so to speak. You're able to ride it. Then you're no longer burdened by the proliferations of thoughts which are both good and bad. Because actually, both good thoughts and bad thoughts are nothing but temporary moments. So actually, we can rid ourselves of both kinds of thoughts with the syllable hung. Hung is the nature of this subtle energy, the syllable hung. It's able to scatter all temporary thoughts and habitual imprints. Whatever thoughts may arise, you can just say hung, and this hung scatters whatever thoughts are arising. So hung has this capacity to rid ourselves, to free ourselves from the temporary burden of thoughts. You can close your eyes and simply forcefully say hung. This mediates or rids us of all temporary thoughts. This gets to the very basis of thoughts themselves, which is self-clinging. So actually, we're all the nature of Buddhas, but we have these temporary stains. And if we want to purify ourselves from these stains, we can use the syllable hung. We use hung to scatter these temporary thoughts. This cleans the mind. So if the thoughts are getting more and more, and just thoughts and thinking is happening more and more, you just say hung, and this scatters the thoughts. Then there's no longer any residue of the thoughts, and you're able to recognize the nature of mind as it is, to get to the basis of our very Buddha nature. This is Buddhahood itself. Being free from thoughts is Buddhahood. Thoughts themselves are samsara. So in the aspiration prayer of Samantabhadra, it says, recognizing this, you are a Buddha. Not recognizing this, you are a sentient being. Sentient beings say, I, and this obscures us. This is the very obscuration. And it's actually just temporary. So if we have the temporary obscurations physically, verbally, and mentally, this is being overwhelmed by karmic subtle energy. And then we must purify ourselves of it. If we follow after karmic subtle energy, then we're just bound in attachment and aversion. So if we want to see the nature of mind, we can just say, Hong, and this scatters all temporary thoughts. This scatters the karmic subtle energy, and it frees us from our habitual imprints. So the three poisons of anger, ignorance, and jealousy yield the results of the hell realms, the hungry ghost realms, and, it should be anger, stinginess, and ignorance. So anger yields the hell realms, stinginess yields the hungry ghosts, and ignorance yields the animal realms. So these three poisons are the poisons brought about through not recognizing this state, through not realizing it. And then you have the 12 links of interdependence, all brought about by this non-recognition, this ignorance. And that's why it says in the aspiration prayer of Kuntuzang of Samantabhadra, if you recognize this, you are a Buddha. So if you don't recognize it, you are a sentient being, and your body, speech, and mind are ordinary. So at that time, you don't have any realization of your true nature, but this lack of realization is nothing but temporary. So temporarily, we think of ourselves as I, as me. If an insect bites us, we think, ow, I got bit. But actually, there's no I to be found. This is not recognizing the true nature. This is fixating on ourselves. So we have to understand the nature of our self-fixation. And if we want to rid ourselves of this self-fixation, we just forcefully say, Hong. And if we say Hong like this, then there's no habitual imprints, and we're not following after the karmic subtle energy. Then we're entering the domain of the subtle energy of timeless awareness. This is the Vajra of enlightened mind, the unity of awareness and emptiness. This is the nature of mind that we must understand. So we can utilize this Hong to scatter our thoughts. This Hong is very profound. So is there a method for all sentient beings to reach our nature? There is a method, and that method is Hong. This Hong is the synthesis of all Dharma practice. This Hong is the synthesis of all Buddhas. All Buddhas reside in the syllable Hong. The syllable Hong is the syllable of the mind. The syllable Hong is the syllable of the nature of mind.
mới qua thằng mô thì lòng mới qua thì con ôm thì lòng mà thì thì tiêu là thì làm sự chuẩn bị chứ mà sự thì chuẩn bị tập rồi sao thì hôm thì tập hôm là cái thì hôm chuẩn bị là ta thì long ra chứ long là mấy nhìn rồi chả long thì thằng mấy là thêm rồi thế thì xem mà hiểu vậy phát ra cái thì tôi chuẩn bị hôm thì xong rồi phát ra tham gia cái hôm thì hôm đó thì ta tham gia cái hôm đó ta lấy cái hôm rồi sao thì phải ya tôi phải ya con người đấy.
Om is pervading all forms. Ah is pervading all sounds. So when all sounds are the nature of sound and emptiness, it is ah. So when you breathe in Om, and then that Om travels to below the navel, and you hold the subtle energy a little bit gently there, and you think of the ah at that point. The ah is down in the navel, like a candle flame that's burning is ah. So this flame, this candle of ah is burning, like the picture on Rinpoche's table, this candle. So ah is at the navel, and it is when you meditate on a flame of ah at your navel, it relates to the red element inherited by your parents that resides there. It is the syllable, the seed of fire. So when you meditate in that way, warmth will occur in your body. So you think of this ah like a candle flame burning. So you say Om, and then the ah travels down to the navel, and you hold the subtle energy a little bit there, thinking that the ah is like a candle. And then the hung is like the wick of the candle. So if you want a fire to burn, you need the fuel for the fire, and that's the hung. The hung is like the fuel. So when you breathe out, you do exhale, and though you're exhaling out, you think that the hung of the exhale actually dissolves into the ah at the navel. So all freedom from all fixation on sound is a syllable ah, and hung is a syllable of the unity of awareness and emptiness, the vajra of enlightened mind. So you recognize enlightened mind through this syllable hung, and you do this visualization, Om, ah, hung. And with ah, the ah resides at the navel like a candle burning. And you think that that candle burning is always there. And then you say hung, 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 thinking that the hung dissolves into the fire, increasing it. So in this way, you don't allow your mind to go here and there. You remain undistracted. So you keep your mind on this hung, and then you rest in emptiness.
This was a minute of home the daughter, the manager songs, and the Limon Bago chocolate. Not to my salary, don't want to control some. Not to maybe something on the same dreaming and or shadow dream check away. There are come the milk the earth and gently. They can you got said on the Tamna, they did it. When you say Yaruka, you did my job at any. Ah, de bara Yaruka somebody. Yaruka so nothing. Yaruka so something on the Gajan and the they are art lamb to the the hungry to go some of the water and donut in it. In some my song about the home the home to go to Italy. You can't do Doctor of Salon, the hungry to go on. The Bible on our homes, the other hungry to go on with the Nang, the GBI, the not all sorrow about the home, the dream home, the not all the song.
So again, what is the visualization? First, you have the syllable Om. So you breathe in Om, and then Ah. The Ah dwells, stays, remains at the navel as a candle. And then you have Hung. So if you meditate on Chakra Samvara, if you meditate on the deities in Yabyum, then you meditate on the candle as Vajravarahi and the Hung as Chakra Samvara. So you meditate on the Hung as Chakra Samvara, and you think of the deities, you think of the Hung and the candle as deities in Yabyum, and you meditate on them in the secret place. This is a method by which we can elicit bliss, we can arouse bliss. So you meditate like this and think that this is all the deities in Yabyum. So the Hung is the male aspect and the candle is the female aspect. So you say Om, Ah, Hung. And this is bliss without attachment. So if thoughts do stir during this time, you can breathe in Ah and think of all thoughts being burned into the candle of the Ah. Think all thoughts are burned in this candle. If no thoughts are arising, then your mind will remain happily. So without thoughts, then the mind is naturally happy. So this actually melts or burns, incinerates all desire. So you remain in this state however long you can, and then this transforms all sound into the nature of mantra. Om, Ah, Hung. So when you're lying down, you can just focus only on the Ah, Hung. Ah, Hung, Ah, Hung. Only the Ah and the Hung. And if you do that, then you just think appearance, emptiness, Ah, Hung. This is a manner in which we can maintain vigilant mindful awareness and carefulness. So we just think of the Ah and the Hung, the Ah being the candle and the Hung being the incineration of all thoughts.
홍대 그바 제시들이 레롱데 이식을롱아 저렇다고 요래. 레롱다 이식을롱 세발대 야고 하고 그래. 레롱지는 나도 가리 샤나 뒤쳐와도 왕들 뒤지선 당네. 베르 세당이랑 람당들이 맞을 노sem제를 동안 가져들은 좋아자야라도 생각을. 이식을롱은 세당을 하고서 홍대 세당데 좋아도 세당을 같은 때나 샘싸고 하장 가오들이 샘싸고 차들이 바로 보통의 시당을 하면 그때 시당을 하면 바로 몇서 서로 간초하면 가자고 대리 이식을 롱들이 이식을 롱들이 나와요. 대리들이 홍딱 벌고 되게 나도 탐지 또나 레롱이 시롱은 저래 레롱이 시롱이 저서 그바 가리들 바도리들이라게 뉴목을 내사하고 뒤지서 라망이 받들이 레지롱 맞고 달리디 이 레롱가 별은 뛰어니 봐다 돌돌로 따대라도 똑같이 지네 뛰어리 하고 그래서 라서 라왕을 롱 때우나 홍고도 제고 가도 그래 이 내가 탄도 그래 그래서 다 제가면 손나 라마트니지들 홍지 라마야들이 예다벽들이 사지야들 홍지 탐지지 말이 사지에 탐지지 말고 홍지리 대진 제면 고소나 이 내롱 고자 특별히 손도 고가 특별히 그래 레롱 이시질롱을 저거는 다 홍지기 저特그래 이 저탑은 뭐도 라는 다 좋았다 나도 좀 남용고 뭐가 남용도 저아지 나도 이 봤지 제도 한국 봐 떨살들이 이제 좋아하다고 그래서 어떤 우리 떨성지 새로 동해 치고 샤는 데가 떨고 새로 코라는 내가 치면 동해 가야면 동해 납도 그래서 그래 나 되게 동해서 어때 하고 나 되면 나도 설 대체지 고 치고 자 이 쳐지는 담요라고 차래 이 동해 다 따뜻한 하시자 그래서 라따테 나세리 동해 박사들 맞도는 이 조고 차도 띠를 하시자고 저 동해지 이거 말이야 동해에 가리니 유목의 송송지 유목에서 동해에 유목을 다 그래요 동해 탑지 못해 들어 동해 다 똑같아 요리 유목 동해에 약고래 해서 온 거예요 내가 아주 사초성 것 같은데 때는 사초성 공부 같다는데 사바든 이제 공부 받다 처럼 선거 동네에 되게 내 다다스 다다로 동네에 득접지 착생이 있어 동네에 약불이 싸면 동네 고소라는 이거 말이야 그때 기치 뭐래 그때들이 대통령이 안 맞으면 이 로디 시라왕 탐을 내 로디 시를 저 터밤도 나는 딱 버리지 거기 때 남들 이틀 저 터고요 그래
With the syllable Hong, we're able to transform the subtle energy of timeless awareness we're able to transform karmic subtle energy into the subtle energy of timeless awareness. So we are usually bound by the subtle energy of karma. And we should understand the difference between the karmic subtle energy and the subtle energy of timeless awareness. So in the subtle energy of karma, this karmic subtle energy, no matter how many thoughts occur, we follow after each one. For example, if we give rise to intense anger, we fight. But in the subtle energy of timeless awareness, we recognize the nature of anger with the syllable Hong. And then we dwell in immense clarity, the clarity born from the evaporation of that anger. We wouldn't have that clarity without the anger. It's the anger that yields clarity when it's transformed. And that's what is meant by control. We have control in the subtle energy of timeless awareness. So we're able to transform thoughts from karmic subtle energy into the subtle energy of timeless awareness. What is the point or the purpose? The subtle energy of karma, like it says, like its namesake, involves the accumulation of afflictive emotions and karma. And this impacts our future lives. We have no control over what happens because we are overwhelmed by our thoughts. But if we employ the method of Hong, Hong is the antidote. We always talk about remembering the Lama. The Hong is the Lama. The Hong is the Yidam. The Hong is the Buddha. All Buddhas are subsumed within Hong. Hong is what transforms karmic subtle energy into the subtle energy of timeless awareness. Hong gives us control. We need to cultivate this by meditating and bringing it into our experience. So Hong scatters thoughts, And what we mean by scatter is it pierces through them, it obliterates them. And then the mind is able to dwell in its natural state of happiness. Thoughts are what cause suffering. I. This brings suffering. It weighs us down. It makes things heavy. That's what makes suffering come. And then we get sick and we get heavy and weary. So this is all formed by afflictions and thoughts. But really, we can think of suffering as a kind of kindness as well. So if our mind is happy, we can recognize that happiness as the kindness of bodhicitta. And if we are experiencing and loving kindness and compassion, but if we are experiencing suffering, we can think, well, it is through this suffering that I'm purifying my obscurations and my stains. It is through this suffering that I am cleansed. So we can also thank our suffering. This is very important. So we're able to gain some control when we're no longer bound by the good and bad of karmic subtle energy, when we dwell in the subtle energy of timeless awareness. And this is something that we gain through meditation. Sometimes when we meditate, we have different kinds of sensations or feelings, and we can apply this hong to those feelings. So if you have a hong, if you're feeling like sick to your stomach, you can send hong to that feeling in your stomach, and that feeling will evaporate or go away. If you're having some gas or some problems, you can say hong, and it will ameliorate that. So you can send hong to different areas of the body to scatter those feelings, to eradicate them. And this is true of the bardo as well. So if you're able to apply this hong to obliterate your feelings, you can use it to obliterate your afflictive emotions and your habitual imprints, and it will transform the experience of the bardo. So the Lama is timeless awareness. And so this hong is the Lama, the hong which scatters your habitual imprints and allows the mind to be revealed in its nature of great bliss and loving kindness and compassion. So now we can take some questions for half an hour.
So there are some questions that were being submitted previously. I'll start the first one. Currently, when I experience bliss, I observe that it usually starts from the heart with a very big vibration. And this vibration is like the energy shooting to the heart. And then this energy, it radiates throughout the body. And at this time, the bliss is overwhelming, and I can only be flooded in it without seeing the empty nature of it. Can Rinpoche advise how should I practice in such a state to see the emptiness and bliss? To see the emptiness of bliss.
Michiki nyam yongla, dewa yongedus, ninkane, dewa yongedus, tongpa ni tongemendus, Condres de tong tukidus, tongpa tongimendus, dewa rang sorgedus. Condres de tong yamnanche tukires.
인칼이 좀 좋아돼. 대화를 막 정때를 매대 정때 대화 줘. 인칼을 우리가 인칼을 내 오늘 보면 대화를 왜? 대화는 대화대 가리게 대화대. 대화대 각각을 셈포 땅만 땅장 차 셈콜을 하시게 대화리. 셈도 같이 차다때 대화치 뭐 차고 요리. 오 대화 얘네 랑나네 봐대. 셈콜을 하시게 대화리. 죽어 대화치 뭐 셈콜을 하시게 대화리. 오 셈부 다 이거 잡고 따래서. 그래서 대신에 양도에도 남도 파 돌나 이 셈콜을 하시다는데 대화 드는 연구를 해야 돼.
For starters, you should move that bliss down to your navel. If you keep the bliss in the heart, there's some risk, there's some danger. So move the bliss down to below the navel and understand that that bliss is not separate from your mind. Actually, that bliss is the mind in its clean, very clean, pristine state. And then no matter how much bliss occurs, you just rest in the great bliss. Because bliss is the nature of mind itself. It is called Dharmakaya, great bliss. So bliss is the nature of the mind itself, and you can think, oh, now I'm getting close to the nature of mind. And you just allow the great bliss to come.
Thank you. The next question is also about daily practice. So the question is, I'm aware that I need to improve on my Shamatha meditation and have been working on it. But I also have spells of concentration or concentrating on the Dhondrup to purify obscurations. And I'm also drawn to the Amitabha practice, and I also love the White Tara Sadhana. In this case, what should I do to progress my practice?
Nyamlin Dramendra Yorawa Shine Ngundro Drolma Upakme Nyamlin Kare Gogedus.
사 냠니 냠니 사 가래고 사 찍고나 이 차가지 내가 창우상고 사카가 말이 사 야로 사 찍고나 사 도망고 사 가래 안 디게 이거래 나 사도 내 매가 되는데 포에는 지에도 뭐는 지고 사 가래고 사 찍고 사 도망고 그래서 사 카카에서 놓고 지고요래.
You should recognize that all deities are of the same essence and meditate just on one. So the deities are not actually separate, they're not different. Deities are the opposite of self-clinging. So this is true of male and female deities. To think of deities as separate or different is a big mistake.
And there's a question for Rinpoche to explain a bit more on the signs of accomplishments in each state of the Samadhi empowerment. So for example, for the vase empowerment, what are the signs of accomplishments? How about the secret empowerment, wisdom empowerment, and bardo empowerment? And the question is there because we can then validate and check if we have practiced it correctly or not.
Wang the Tingne Zinki Wang Jipo the Tak the
왕
Se Dang Tak Yorawa Se Tak the Kara Yores the Wang Jipo the Wang Jipo Tope Tak Yorebes
답이
Tak Se Tak the Yako Tope Tak Jabo.
여기서 또 대박거리 대박거리 왕토리 따 류거방 사고로 따라 류건지 맘매봐 류건지 봐 정안 좀 맘매봐 라는 게 제일 ngāga dhibā mīla tiri, ngāga kīchā chāmbirā xēla tiri dhibā mīla, sōngi wāng tōla tāri. Sēm tī tī nāmjī tōwa sēm rī, sēm nām tōga chādāng mōsō dājī nīdī, chādāng mōsō chōngla, tāwa sēm rā tāgo rī. Sēm chādāng mōsō dhibā chōng wāng yīgā, wāng yīgā yāmbu tōgu yō rī. Tō sēm nyam nī nā tēni, nām tō nyōnga tāwa dājī nīdī, dājī nīdī mīla tiri koi wāng tōbi tā tēna wā, dālan dhibā mīla sōngi wāng, sēm dhibā mīla tōgu wāng, tō hōngi sēm yī mōngāng dhā mā shāna wāng tamchī tēran dhīgu yō rī.
The signs of receiving well the empowerments are that your body is the body of the deity. So for example, Amitabha. So you're free of fixation on your physical body. You're free of verbal fixation. No matter what anyone says to you, it doesn't matter. You're free of fixation toward it. This is a sign of receiving the secret empowerment, the empowerment of enlightened speech. Then the mind empowerment, the mind is not riddled with thoughts. There's no overwhelming attachment and aversion going for this and avoiding that. So if you're free from mental fixation, that's the sign of receiving the empowerment of mind. And that's really the essence of all four empowerments. If you're free from thoughts and you're free from self-clinging, then this is the empowerment of enlightened speech, which is the syllable Hong, the synthesis of all empowerments.
Ningye jibo jere, da ya shu ji jere, yibi ningye di chere suma, 이 선악 탐지에 토보다 되리. 그좀 토고 막 탐만 되는 거요.
Also, the increase in compassion and the increase in compassion. So if your altruism, if the wish to benefit others blazes upward and becomes vast, that's the best sign. So the radiance of emptiness is vast compassion, as Milarepa has said.
Sorry, we can move on to the next question. Yeah. Okay. So the next question is, I can understand that we visualize Guru and deity as rainbow-like. However, why is there still a need to add on the rainbow sphere in addition to visualizing Guru and deity?
Yena yang di jaki korlo yang yores ja korlo wa di karagina
di lai yagarti di sei jongwa nga di miyong ne yishigan jon rore nga kwan ja chung ya de yishigan jongwa nga de ja chung di da la medli sem samma chana ni yagar ma bo yong ko yore yagar ma bo de di donga yishigan na min ma min ni mong donga re ro tok cha ro 미래 시간을 비례 뭐지 나디가 마미네 자거를 너무 사디라 시 찹초고요래 이거 사디는 자거를 들지 사디 시간에 이거도 이 시간이 뒤지 이거 라이크 가리고를 촬영을 돼.
이 야가라 성상 야가라 성상이
자디 시간이나
오케이
시간이나
오케이
생 코랑나 시간으로 셰도를 살고나 셰도를 양아들이 라미게 이거 좀 말이 생코는 이 시간에 나온 요래 마다는 뭔가래 다른 이 시간에.
The reason for the rainbows is that the outer elements are actually the nature of the 5 aspects of timeless awareness, and that's why they're when they're in their nature, they appear like a rainbow. So in their pure essence, they are the 5 aspects of timeless awareness. And in their impure, they are the 5 afflictive emotions, which cause the 5 realms of sentient beings. So the deities appear like a rainbow because they are the pure 5 aspects of timeless awareness. They're like the light refracted in a crystal. And that is the nature of the 5 aspects of timeless awareness in the mind as well. So the impure aspect is the 5 afflictions, and the pure aspect is the 5 aspects of timeless awareness.
So how about the sphere around it?
The Jai Korlo Yumsen Karares.
자발때 람지는 영어요. 람지는 영어래. 람지 고고르데 또반이 주인 또반이 다래. 딱은 야송 샤론데 그래.
They just,
남부터 샤글. 야는 남부터 샤글이 서로 자가 강되는데 샘데 나디 다 손들이 자가 람지 샤글.
These rainbow spheres happen naturally. They're the natural appearance that occurs. They're the sign of the emptiness of the ultimate nature of phenomena. So when the mind is purified, these rainbow spheres naturally appear.
The next question is about Bindu drops. Rinpoche explained that bliss comes from Bindu drops. And can Rinpoche please explain what is Bindu drops?
Tigle Karares.
아,
Tigle ne deo yongeres. Tigle di Karares.
그래 람지 샤용거리네. 람지 샤용거리 또 많이래.
Ni di nanglokla di.
오, 난 틀리. 이랑은 감틀리다다 마다가 가는 것도 부서워요. 감틀리대. 샘지고처럼 남도 봐 차배 봐 샤는 이 샘지 양사고 차가 요리. 들이도 다들 랑게 대화에서 하고 그래. 틀에 광게 대화에서 하고 뭐니. 오다 도보는 저기 대화 얘기 말에 랑 감틀리 윤디 샘사고 차물이 틀이 기능 레바니 연구를 레바니.
The tigle, or what I translate as vital essence, or bindu, is an element. It's like your vital elements. It's what allow you to make babies. So the element of the vital essence, the tigle, is what brings about happiness in the mind. So when the mind is free from habitual imprints and thoughts, then the mind is happy. And you should know that this tigle, this vital essence, is the source of bliss inherent within you. So this bliss is not dependent on another. So the bliss that you think comes about through sexual union or partnership is actually based on the qualities of your own inherent vital essence, your own tigle element. And it dwells in the head, in the brain.
The next question is from our Sangha member in Scotland. And we'd like to ask Rinpoche for advice because in Scotland there's a very small group of practitioners. And is there any advice that Rinpoche can give to his Sangha because they are such a small group of practitioners to practice?
Gelkap chung chung di Scotland sergetu. Scotland la di gendong chung chung chektus. Dene gendong chung chung la di damga yubes.
강세.
Oh yeah.
아. 담아. 오, 소지바데 삼대 로고래. 나디기 뭐 기본 제시는 저 매제 삼대 주소를 내면 매제게 로바탕을 삼대 요거래. 주소 나 주소 되니면 로바탕만에 보다기 삼모도 이 삼모는 들이들 레이저를 로고래. 또 좀돼야 하고 점들 하들이 저 내가 제치고도 삼대래. 오, 내가 사지에 보면 내가 돌이 되원 다도 사지 내가 제적 봐도 요만 삼대 거를 했지. 동이 제적 봐도 요만 나디 요래. 나디 그 삼대만도 좀 적고 말이 대랍 적으래. 대신 라니 소디마 도렌지. 도와드리지.
For Dharma centers, I say that you need to practice loving kindness. So maintain loving kindness in the Dharma center and treat all people in the Dharma center like your own children. Understand that the root of all happiness is loving kindness. This is the root of temporary happiness and the root of the ultimate level of Buddhahood. So there's really nothing apart from this. The opposite of loving kindness is self-clinging, so avoid it. In the Dharma Center, you can also practice the 37 practices of Bodhisattvas and engage in discussion on the 37 practices. So in the Dharma Center, you really need loving kindness. Loving kindness is what allows the Dharma Center to function well. Don't think, well, this is my Dharma Center and it has to go this way. So don't think in that way. Think, oh, I need to benefit everyone. This is the mind of loving kindness. You also need to really get along. There needs to be harmony.
The next question, will I gain enlightenment if I just only practice prostration? Will I achieve enlightenment?
Chakselwa yorwa, chaksel. Chaksel chikpo di gyabna sangi gopang la jogider bes.
살다리 시고래, 살대 가래들이 살다리 대바시고래, 고조정의 용띠 시고래, 고조정의 용띠 마시래 살탄아들이 리제트 바살면, 고조정의 용띠 양장들이나 들이 내려들은 고조정도 짜치고 고조정도 짜와 가래 산축 세면이 대지인 거면 사가 나도 세면이 대바시고래 사축복이 리그트 바다 그래 맞아 사이고 바토고 말해. 사지 공방 통과 말해야 돼. 산 세는데 나디디 세거래. 사족 세거래. 사족 세고 삭다는 데니 받치 뭐요래. 사족 세는 나지보데 주고 조디라고 하는데 비용요래. 내가 봐도 다독 사지 공방으로 다른 거래. 또 대바지고 사가 대바.
The point of prostration is faith. You have faith in the three jewels. You remember the qualities of the three jewels. So if you do that, if you recall the qualities of the three jewels, then you remember their sacredness, their sanctity. And their true profundity lies in the mind of bodhicitta, the mind of awakening. So it's the mind of awakening which brings the level of Buddhahood. So if you apply faith in the mind of awakening to prostrations, it can act in this way. Otherwise, prostrations is a physical act. It's an act which purifies your physical obscurations, and it has some benefits. It helps you. But unless you apply the mind of faith and the mind of bodhicitta, then you won't reach the level of Buddhahood.
Thank you. The next question is, how can we pray to Rinpoche? Because he's in USA, whereas we are in other countries. Is there like an aspiration guru prayer, or do we need to chant the White Tara mantra?
The Rinpoche kerang tak ringpo jukeres, dene Rinpoche la kandres solwa dep gogeres, solwa dep.
rinpoche라 소하다 rinpoche라서 사족세고 건 거예요. rinpoche 사족세고 되게 뱅게면 rinpoche supporten 강바동 거서 찍바래야 돼. rinpoche 샘대 가고. rinpoche 샘대서 상 인핑게 로래. 사바세미래 돼. 샘대 해야요 말 rinpoche doktor도 샘이야. rinpoche 가지를 요래서 한 거예요. rinpoche 샘 거. 서로가 삼재고 어디 삼재들을 못 지래야 돼. 시랍들을 못 지래야 돼. 오. 라리 소디마들을 못 지래야 돼. 내래 대라고 상들이. rinpoche 샘대 가지고 있는 요래. 주를 섬기는 삼시계기를 다음 나타도 섬기는 이제 전부도 문에 내가 세번 가는 곳이래 somebody.
Oh, well, what's Rinpoche, or precious one? It's the mind of bodhicitta. So it's not my body or my legs. Those are just ordinary. It's the mind. It's the positive mind, the mind which wishes to benefit others. So when does this mind occur? It occurs with loving kindness. Loving kindness is Rinpoche, precious. Wisdom is Rinpoche, precious. The 37 practices are Rinpoche, precious. So actually, you can think, when you give rise to great compassion, to loving kindness, you can think, I am Rinpoche, precious.
Thank you. That's all that I have.
사서 다 좋아 가르쳐서 너무 상적체로 쏘는데 상적체도 쓰라고는 너무 샘드다고 자거래 속다고 뭐지 너무 쳇다고 자거래 나리 소디 말이 나리 소디만 가래 너무 샘드다고 자 찍어도 자야 삼지 참아요 삼지 되라 말 너무 상적체로 쏘는데 그래서 사지에게 삼지 사지에 삼지 삼지 우리들이 나디 매완다고 그래 나디 매완 손에들이 생고랑 또 그래 나디 처럼도 그래 사지 답이 장토나지리 처럼 대신에 장토로 태운 거래 처럼은 장토니 가까운 말이 되나 다 가까리 내나기 사지 생기니라 처럼도 장토다 그래 하고 그래지 이런 삼지 찍고래.
This last question was about how to supplicate to the Lama. You supplicate to the Lama, which is the mind of bodhicitta, the mind of awakening. That's what you hold. That's what you pray to. You don't pray to the body. You pray to the mind. So you also pray to the 37 practices of bodhisattvas. It's the mind of loving kindness, which is the mind of the Lama's mind of bodhicitta. And that's what you supplicate towards. That's what alleviates self-clinging. If you have this mind, you have control. Otherwise, if you are riddled with self-clinging, your mind is like ice, and bodhicitta is like the vast ocean. It's the freedom from self-clinging which allows you to melt and merge into the vast ocean. Actually, you and I are not different. Right now we are different because you are frozen in the ice. So it is bodhicitta which allows our separation to melt. Now we'll do the aspiration prayer of Samantabhadra. So all aspiration prayers are wonderful, but among them, this aspiration prayer of Samantabhadra is extremely beneficial. And so it'd be good to really study it, to engage in discussion about it, and to ask questions. It has a very powerful meaning. Page 40. I read it, okay. Ho, everything, appearance and existence, samsara and nirvana, has a single ground, yet two paths and two fruitions, and magically displays as awareness or unawareness. Through Kunta Zangpo's prayer, may all beings become Buddhas, completely perfected in the abode of the Dharma Dhatu. The ground of all is uncompounded, and the self-arising great expanse beyond expression has neither the name samsara nor nirvana. Realizing just this, you are a Buddha. Not realizing this, you are a being wandering in samsara. I pray that all you beings of the three realms may realize the true meaning of the inexpressible ground. I, Kunta Zangpo, have realized the truth of this ground, free from cause and condition, which is just this self-arising awareness. It is unstained by outer expression and inner thought. affirmation, or denial, and is not defiled by the darkness of unmindfulness. Thus, this self-manifesting display is free from defects. I, Kuntizangpo, abide as intrinsic awareness. Even though the three realms were to be destroyed, there is no fear. There is no attachment to the five desirable qualities of sense objects. In self-arising consciousness, free of thoughts, there is neither solid form nor the five poisons. In the unceasing clarity of awareness, singular in essence, there yet arises the display of the five wisdoms. From the ripening of these five wisdoms, the five original Buddha families emerge. And through the expanse of their wisdom, the 42 peaceful Buddhas appear. Through the arising power of the five wisdoms, the 60 wrathful Herukas manifest. Thus the ground awareness is never mistaken or wrong. I, Kuntizangpo, am the original Buddha of all, and through this prayer of mine, may all you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara realize this self-arising awareness, and may your great wisdom spontaneously increase. My emanations will continuously manifest in billions of unimaginable ways, appearing in forms to help you beings who can be trained. Through my compassionate prayer, may all of you beings who wander in the three realms of samsara escape from the 6 life forms. From the beginning, you beings are deluded because you do not recognize the awareness of the ground. Being thus unmindful of what occurs is delusion, the very state of unawareness and the cause of going astray. From this delusive state comes a sudden fainting away, and then a subtle consciousness of wavering fear. From that wavering there arises a separation of self and the perception of others as enemies. Gradually the tendency of separation strengthens, and from this the circle of samsara begins. Then the emotions of the 5 poisons develop. The actions of these emotions are endless. You beings lack awareness because you are unmindful, and this is the basis of your going astray. Through my prayer, may all you beings recognize your intrinsic awareness. Innate unawareness means unmindfulness and distraction. Imputing unawareness means dualistic thoughts towards self and others. Both kinds of unawareness are the basis for the delusion of all beings. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, may all you beings wandering in samsara clear away the dark fog of unmindfulness, clear away the clinging thoughts of duality. May you recognize your own intrinsic awareness. Dualistic thoughts create doubt. From subtle attachment to this dualistic turn of mind, dualistic tendencies become stronger and thicker. Food, wealth, clothes, home, and friends, the 5 objects of the senses, and your beloved family. All these things cause torment by creating longing and desire. These are all worldly delusions. The activities of grasping and clinging are endless. When the fruition of attachment ripens, you are born as a hungry ghost, tormented by coveting and desiring, miserable, starving, and thirsty. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, may all you desirous and lustful beings who have attachments neither reject longing desires nor accept attachment to desires. Let your consciousness relax in its own natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of perfect discernment. When external objects appear, the subtle consciousness of fear will arise. From this fear, the habit of anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, hostility comes, causing violence and murder. When the fruition of this anger ripens, you will suffer in hell by boiling and burning. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, you beings of the 6 realms, when strong anger arises for you, neither reject nor accept it. Instead, relax in the natural state and achieve the wisdom of clarity. When your mind becomes full of pride, there will arise thoughts of competition and humiliation. As this pride becomes stronger and stronger, you will experience the suffering of quarrels and abuse. When the fruition of this karma ripens, you will be born in the God realms and experience the suffering of change and falling to lower rebirths. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, may you beings who develop pride Let your consciousness relax in the natural state. Then your awareness will be able to hold its own. May you achieve the wisdom of equanimity. By increasing the habit of duality, by praising yourself and denigrating others, your competitive mind will lead you to jealousy and fighting, and you will be born in the jealous God realm, where there is much killing and injury. From the result of that killing, you will fall into the hell realm. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, when jealousy and competitive thoughts arise, do not grasp them as enemies. Just relax and ease. Then consciousness can hold its own natural state. May you achieve the wisdom of unobstructed action. By being distracted, careless, and unmindful, you beings will become dull, foggy, and forgetful. By being unconscious and lazy, you will increase your ignorance, and the fruition of this ignorance will be to wander helplessly in the animal realm. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, may you beings who have fallen into the dark pit of ignorance shine the light of mindfulness, and thereby achieve wisdom free from thought. All you beings of the three realms are actually identical to Buddhas, the ground of all. But your misunderstanding of the ground causes you to go astray, so you act without aim. The 6 karmic actions are a delusion, like a dream. I am the primordial Buddha, here to train the 6 kinds of beings through all my manifestations. Through Kuntizangpo's prayer, may all you beings without exception attain enlightenment in the state of Dharmadhatu. Ah, ho! Hereafter, whenever a very powerful yogin, with his or her awareness radiant and free from delusion, recites this very powerful prayer, then all who hear it will achieve enlightenment within 3 lifetimes. During a solar or lunar eclipse, during an earthquake or when the earth rumbles, at the solstices or the new year, you should visualize Kuntizangpo, and if you pray loudly so all can hear, the beings of the 3 realms will be gradually liberated from suffering through the prayer of the yogin, and will finally achieve enlightenment.
Raja Gala Juba Thamma Trashi Dele.